Hey everybody, it's Jody and I am back with a comparison for you today. A lot of people have been waiting on this video and we're finally doing it. We are going to be comparing this Kmise Banjolele that I unboxed and reviewed recently on this channel. And we're going to compare that with this Oscar Schmidt Banjolele, which has also been reviewed on this channel about a year ago. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about the price. This Kmise Banjolele is available on Amazon for about $85. You can pay a little bit more to get a case and a tuner, and a little bit more if you pay $100, you get a case, tuner, string, strap, pickup, picks. I think that's it. This Oscar Schmidt, let's see, it's the last I checked, it was $182 with nothing. No case, no tuner. Also on Amazon. However, I have seen that price fluctuate quite a bit, from like $160 to almost $200. So it kind of depends on when you're looking. So roughly speaking, this one is about twice the price of this one, but still both pretty affordable. So let's see what you're getting for those prices, and hopefully I can help you make a decision on which one would be the right one for you. So let's get into the specs. The Oscar Schmidt is made out of mahogany. It's got a mahogany neck. It's got a mahogany bound back plate and mahogany body. The Kmise has sapele, which is very similar to mahogany. Sapele body and neck and back plate. And we're going to get a closer look at these materials when we take the backs off and look at both of these ukuleles. The Oscar Schmidt also claims to have a flamed maple veneer headstock, which I think is just for looks, but it does look pretty nice. See that flame right there? So that's what they use on their headstock, a flame maple veneer headstock. And I guess just while we're up there, we'll look at the logos. There's the logo for the Oscar Schmidt by Washburn. Can't get it in focus. And it's like a screen print on there. And then the logo for the Kmise is this big bulky foil sticker, which can be removed pretty easily, and I would probably recommend doing that if your little heart desires. The tuners, while we're up here still, we have some open geared tuners for the Oscar Schmidt. Let's see if I wrote anything about them. White perloid buttons. And then we've got these closed geared chrome tuners on the Kmise. Both tuners are serviceable, get the job done. The tuners on the Kmise, at least this particular one that I received, they seem, it's hard to explain, but you have to turn it quite a bit before you hear results, before the pitch changes. So, but then once I get it in tune, it seems to be keeping its tune pretty well. I could not find information, and believe me, I tried, on what the nut and saddle are made out of on this Oscar Schmidt. They are made out of plastic on the Kmise. Oh, not the saddle, just the nut, because it's got a floating bridge, of course. But yeah, so it's made out of plastic on the Kmise, and I really don't know. But they don't look the same. But here's what it looks like on the Oscar Schmidt. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, the fingerboard on the Oscar Schmidt is bound rosewood, which I think looks really nice. I love that dark color. It's very smooth. It's bound with that. I don't know if that's probably ABS. Very smooth. We've got the side dots, bound rosewood fingerboard. And on the Kmise, it is a walnut fingerboard, and I showed this in my review. It's like two-toned. It's not stained evenly. I don't care for that. It looks sloppy, and I like dark fingerboards. So I may end up staining the rest of this because I've done that before, stained a fingerboard, and it's not too difficult. So maybe I'll make a video on that. And it does have, the fingerboard arrived is very dry, and the frets are a little bit sharp. But it's also bound with some kind of white ABS, and it also has the side dots. Let's see, I think we're ready to talk about the heads. So the head on the Oscar Schmidt is a Remo weathering banjo head, which is very high quality and durable and sounds really good. The head on the Kmise is it's really unbranded. It's just got the Kmise. Kind of looks like a Remo logo, like they were trying to maybe from far away, kind of looks like it could be a Remo, and in some of the pictures online, you kind of could just assume it's Remo, but it's not. And again, we'll take a little bit more look at the head when we take the backs off. We can see it from both angles. But let's just listen. That's what that one sounds like. That's what this one sounds like. This one's more resonant. They both have a floating bridge, of course. You can check out the unboxing of this video to see how I installed that floating bridge. This one, it's a little bit longer, wider. The strings are not wider, farther apart. It's just the bridge is a little bit longer. And I really can't speak too much about floating bridges. I can't really pretend to know a lot about them. The strings are attached a little bit differently, so that's what it looks like on the Kmise. And there's the end of the strings. This is what it looks like on the Banjolele. I do like how it's got this little plate, kind of covers it up. And then right there is where the strings are, the end of the strings are attached. I'm gonna play them and then we'll take the backs off. So we'll start with the Kmise. So there we have it. That's what they sound like with the backs on. Let me know what you think. I prefer this one. I think it's definitely louder, and we'll talk about that in a minute. That has to do with the back also. But it's just twangier and more resonant and clearer. This one's a little bit muddy. They both, you know, are fun and both have kind of a banjo sound. And also, before I forget, this a big difference that could be important to you is this one, the neck profile is a lot skinnier. This one, the neck profile is a lot wider. So that is personal preference, but it definitely feels different when you're playing them. And some people definitely are going to have a preference to that. This one is pretty skinny compared to like most of the ukuleles I have. This one is on the thicker side. So they're a pretty big difference. The neck profile, how like thick it is. But back to the sound, I think they both have decent intonation. They both, I measured them, have pretty much the same action. I prefer the sound of this one. I've had both of them. I've been playing, trying to compare them, but when I just want to pick one up to play, I always pick this one up. I just prefer the sound this one has. So let's take a look at the insides and the backs. Before we do that, I do want to point out this one has spacers. As you can see right there, there's space between the back plate and the body, and that's what allows it to be louder. That's why you would take the back off if you want it to be louder. This one, it's flush. It goes all the way in, and I talked about it in the review for this one. I don't think putting spacers is a very good option, and we'll explain that in a moment. So I'm going to take the backs off, and I will come back, and we'll take a closer look. Ta-da! Okay, we got the backs off. Before we take a look at the inside, let's take a look at the back plates. So this is the one that's on the Oscar Schmidt. As you can see, it's bound by the same white, I'm guessing ABS or something. And the spacers are attached to the holes, which I wasn't expecting. I was thinking that they would be loose and I would be able to try to put them on the other one, but they're attached, which is convenient so you don't lose them when you're taking them off. This is hard. This is thick. It's sturdy. It's stained on both sides. It's got a label, Oscar Schmidt OUB1 with a serial number. It's pretty nice. Here is the Kmise back plate. Not quite so nice. It's not bound by anything. It's just stained on the edges. It does have the binding on the body though, which I kind of like. So if you take it off, you still kind of get that little detail if you were to leave this off. Let's see if it's still warped. Yeah, as you can see, it is not flat. It's very thin laminate and tiny little holes, tiny little screws. So those are the back plates. Before I forget to mention it, this one is heavier. Now, it makes sense. This is thicker. I mentioned that the neck profile is thicker, even the headstock is thicker. So the Kmise weighs in with the backs attached. The Kmise was 2 pounds 8 ounces, and the Oscar Schmidt is 2 pounds 13 ounces. So I did want to mention that, but it makes sense why. Okay, so let's take a look at the inside. Again, the whole inside is stained. It's pretty. Let's take a look at the holes. Every one of the holes is nice and isolated. That's what the inside looks like. And then the inside of the Kmise looks like this. Let's see, most of the holes, I mentioned this in my review, are splitting because of the body is just, you know, these 3 bands of wood. And so these little holes are splitting, which is why I don't recommend taking this off and putting it back on. I don't know why you would. I mean, just make up your mind, either off or on, and leave it. And if you were to use spacers, if you wanted spacers, you're going to need different screws because these are the screws that were on the Kmise. These are the screws that were on the Oscar Schmidt. And so you would need longer screws, obviously, to accommodate a washer and then to go in. And I don't know, it appears like the longer screws are a little bit thicker. And so that's what I would worry about with this, that it may start splitting more if you're putting a thicker screw in so that you could have a washer. So keep that in mind. I would just leave it off or leave it on, personally. So yeah, you can kind of see the difference in the quality just by taking a side-by-side comparison. They both do have that adjustable bar on the inside. They both came with a tool for adjusting the drum head, and adjust. You can turn this with the tool. I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. Okay. This one came with strap buttons, or a strap button. This one did not. And again, this one came with a strap. This one did not. Okay. Drum head. So this one is really nice and sturdy, and I don't worry about it. This one is a polyester drum head, and you can see there's like dimples from where the bridge, the corners of the bridge are. And I don't know if that, I would think that would compromise the drum head a bit, and I don't know, maybe not last as long. Okay, so let's have a listen to what they both sound like with the back plates removed. Okay, so not a drastic change in the sound, I don't think. They're just a little louder without the backs on. But still, I prefer the sound of this one over the sound of this one. I'd like to hear what you think. And I think that pretty much wraps up the differences, the comparisons. I think I thought of one more though. Oh, I wanted to mention they both have 35 millimeter nuts. Another difference I wanted to point out is that this one is skinnier. And obviously it makes sense that it's skinnier when the back plates are on, because this one, the back plate is not flush to the body. It is, it's got spacers in between the back plate and the body. But even, I measured them even with the back plates removed. The Kmise, this one was 61.5 millimeters. And this one was 63.5 millimeters. So 2 millimeters thicker without the back plate, even a little bit more when you have that spacer in. So if you really, I mean, so they feel pretty different. The neck is skinnier, it's a little bit lighter, the body is skinnier. Maybe you really like that, and so you're gonna choose this one. It's not a huge difference for me. I still prefer the sound to this one. To me, that's the most important thing, and the sound just, to me, it's pretty obvious that this one has a better sound and just higher quality in general, higher quality materials. So I like this one, and to me, it's still a pretty good, affordable price. You can buy the case that this one comes with, or can come with in a bundle, individually for $15, and it does fit. That's what I originally bought, was a Kmise Banjolele case for this one, and it does fit in there. And you can buy a strap for $9, but I mean, so that's $24 more you know, adding on, because I do think a strap is pretty darn important on this because it's heavy. You don't want to, you can't really stand and play it without a strap. And it's fun to stand and play sometimes. So, yeah, that's really the only downfall. This doesn't come with anything, and it's more expensive. But in my opinion, it's worth it. This one, I think, is worth the amount and more that it is being sold for. And I think a lot of people will be really happy with it. It doesn't sound horrible. It still has a fun banjolele sound, and it's fun. It's just when you hear them back to back and when you have to, then it kind of pales in comparison a little bit. But if you only have this one, I think you could have a lot of fun with it. It really kind of depends on how picky you are with sound. And also, again, if you like skinny versus thicker, lighter, it's really not that much lighter, but they're both pretty heavy compared to a regular ukulele. So, yeah, that's about all I have to say about these two. But if you have any questions, if there's something I forgot, put them in the comments and I will do my best to address them. Let me know what you think. Do you think this one's worth twice the amount? Do you think this one is worth $85? I think it'd be pretty hard to say it's not worth $85. It's a pretty nice instrument for $85. Okay, so let me know what you think. And have a great day, guys. Don't forget to play your uke today or your banjo uke. Have some fun. And I'll see you guys real soon.